Welcome to our U.S. briefing show. Today, we're kicking things off with Donald Trump's second state visit to the UK, where pomp and protests collide. The visit kicked off with a grand ceremony at Windsor Castle, featuring a 41-gun salute, military displays, and a royal carriage procession. But outside the festivities, protesters made their voices heard, with some arrests over a stunt involving Jeffrey Epstein imagery. The tension between diplomacy and dissent was palpable, highlighting the complex UK-US relationship. Next up, Nvidia's CEO Jensen Huang is feeling the heat from China's chip restrictions. Despite plans to discuss the issue with President Trump at a British banquet, Huang expressed disappointment over the US-China tech standoff. Nvidia can't export its top AI chips to China right now, which is a big deal for AI development in the country. Meanwhile, China is cracking down on Nvidia with new regulations, making the global chip race even more intense. Huang remains hopeful to serve the Chinese market if restrictions ease, as Nvidia continues to invest in innovative projects in the UK. Finally, over in Europe, energy stocks are looking pretty healthy at 80% capacity, thanks to diversified sources like LNG from the US, Qatar, and Norway. But geopolitical threats still loom, with US tariffs and the ongoing Ukraine conflict adding to the uncertainty. The EU is aiming to ditch Russian fossil fuels by 2027, yet tensions and unpredictable weather could complicate winter energy plans. It's a delicate balancing act to keep Europe warm and powered this season. Please continue to watch for more detailed insights. Australian Broadcasting Corporation reports that Donald Trump's second state visit to the UK was a spectacle of grandeur and spectacle, with King Charles III, Queen Camilla, and other royals greeting him amid a display of military might. The event was marked by a 41-gun salute, a grand carriage procession, and a joint flypast of US and UK fighter jets, all designed to impress and flatter the unpredictable US president. Despite the lavish ceremonies, protests erupted both in Windsor and London, with demonstrators condemning Trump's policies and his relationship with Jeffrey Epstein, leading to arrests over a provocative projection of Epstein's image onto Windsor Castle. The visit aimed to bolster US-UK relations, with Trump and the royals paying homage to Queen Elizabeth II and attending a formal banquet, yet tensions lingered as protesters voiced their disapproval and political controversies at home, including the sacking of a UK ambassador linked to Epstein, threatened to cast a shadow over the diplomatic festivities. Yahoo US highlights the stark contrast between the opulent welcome and the widespread protests that marred Trump's visit. While he was greeted with a regal procession and a lavish banquet at Windsor Castle, hundreds of protesters gathered in the streets, chanting slogans and holding signs condemning his policies and association with Epstein. The protests included a stunt where images of Trump and Epstein were projected onto a castle tower, symbolizing the controversy surrounding his relationship with the disgraced financier. Police arrested several individuals amid the demonstrations, which involved multiple protest groups planning marches towards Parliament. The scene encapsulated the polarizing nature of Trump's visit, an occasion of pomp and ceremony overshadowed by public dissent and political tensions, illustrating the complex and often contentious relationship between the US president and the British public. According to South China Morning Post, Nvidia CEO Jensen Huang expressed disappointment over China's reported restrictions on its chips amidst ongoing US-China tensions over trade and technology. Huang revealed he planned to discuss these issues with President Donald Trump at a British state banquet, emphasizing Nvidia's significant role in China's AI market and its contributions to global AI development. Despite restrictions on exporting advanced chips to China and Chinese regulators targeting the company for alleged antitrust violations related to a 2020 Israeli acquisition, Huang maintained a diplomatic stance, stating that Nvidia remains committed to serving the Chinese market if permitted. He acknowledged China's larger geopolitical concerns and expressed understanding and patience, noting that the company would continue supporting both governments as they navigate these complex policies. Huang also mentioned he had not yet spoken to Trump about the latest developments but anticipated a discussion. Concurrently, Nvidia was unveiling new investments in the UK, including a deal to supply thousands of processor chips for a Trump-backed AI infrastructure project, underscoring the company's strategic efforts amidst geopolitical challenges. The South China Morning Post reports that Hong Kong is actively working to position itself as an international education hub by expanding its enrollment of overseas students in local schools. The government plans to pilot a scheme that allows semi-private schools, specifically those under the Direct Subsidy Scheme, DSS, to increase their intake of international students via student visas. This initiative aims to diversify the education market and attract students from Europe, the US, and Southeast Asia, many of whom seek admission to Hong Kong's prestigious universities. The policy also involves raising the non-local student enrollment cap at public universities from 40% to 50%, which could see the total number of international students rise by 7,000, reaching an estimated 37,000. This strategic move reflects Hong Kong's ambition to elevate its status as a global educational destination, with DSS schools enjoying greater curricular flexibility and fee autonomy, attracting students eager to familiarize themselves with Hong Kong's unique environment before pursuing higher education abroad. Meanwhile, Yahoo US highlights the recent decline in Florida's gasoline prices, which fell from $3.03 to an average of $2.96 per gallon, marking a 5-cent decrease since the previous month. This drop is part of a broader trend where gas prices across the U.S. have been gradually decreasing, with Florida's prices being about 6.4% lower than the national average of $3.17 per gallon. The report notes that, compared to last year, Florida's fuel prices are slightly lower, reflecting a more stable and possibly easing energy market. This decline offers some relief to consumers amid ongoing economic pressures, with the data illustrating a seasonal easing in fuel costs that could influence travel and transportation costs nationwide. Deutsche Welle discusses Europe's cautious optimism regarding its energy security as winter approaches, despite a less-than-ideal gas reserve situation. EU countries have diversified their energy sources since Russia's invasion of Ukraine, turning to LNG imports from the US, Qatar, and Norway, while ramping up renewable energy projects. Gas reserves are currently at just over 80%, slightly below the ideal 90% threshold but still providing a buffer for the cold months. However, geopolitical tensions remain, especially with the threat of US-imposed tariffs on Russian energy buyers and the expiration of the Ukraine-Russia transit deal, which had previously allowed Russian gas to flow into Europe via Ukraine. While the EU has made significant progress reducing reliance on Russian fossil fuels, cutting Russian gas imports from 45% to 19%, uncertainties linger, particularly around potential tariffs and weather volatility. Despite these challenges, Europe's strategic diversification and robust storage levels suggest it is better prepared than in previous years, although geopolitical shocks and unpredictable weather could still pose risks to its winter energy security. According to Foreign Policy, Recep Tayyip Erdogan's Turkey has evolved from a status quo power into a revisionist actor, aggressively reshaping regional dynamics through military interventions in Libya, Syria, and the Caucasus, and asserting irredentist claims over Greece's islands and maritime zones. Erdogan's ambitions are driven by a desire to restore Ottoman influence, often expressed through provocative rhetoric and bold territorial maps, such as threatening Greece with sudden night raids. However, today's geopolitical landscape, marked by Russia's invasion of Ukraine, Israel's expansion into Lebanon and Syria, and the United States' unpredictable shifts under Trump, who openly entertained territorial acquisitions like Greenland and Panama, has overshadowed Turkey's regional provocations. While Erdogan's regime has temporarily calmed its aggressive stance to avoid alienating neighbors and to consolidate power domestically, the broader environment of global chaos and the decline of liberal international order have created both risks and opportunities for Turkey's ambitions, forcing Ankara to navigate a complex, crowded field of revisionist powers and regional alliances. In stark contrast, CNN reports a more domestic and immediate political controversy involving former President Donald Trump's administration. Caitlin Collins of CNN confronted Trump's Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche over the Justice Department's consideration of prosecuting protesters under racketeering laws after a dinner at Joe's Seafood in Washington, D.C., where protesters called Trump Hitler. Blanche defended the use of RICO statutes, suggesting that organized efforts to harm or threaten the president could be subject to criminal investigation, despite the protesters merely shouting outside a restaurant. Collins challenged the logic, emphasizing that shouting in protest is protected free speech, while Blanche insisted that organized, funded efforts to inflict harm could justify serious legal action. This exchange highlights the contentious atmosphere surrounding Trump's claims of political persecution and the broader debate over the limits of protest, free speech, and government authority in a polarized America. Thank you for tuning in. The content above showcases the latest briefing reports and analytical synopses, thoughtfully curated by the 6Do team. These insights stem from a wide array of reputable media outlets, think tanks, government sources, and specialized experts worldwide. We encourage you to explore these sources for a comprehensive perspective. Keep in mind that while the content may not always align with the official standpoint of 6Do Brief, it's not meant to be taken as absolute directives for decision-making. Comprising seasoned media professionals, learned scholars, and accomplished scientists, the 6Do team embodies a trailblazing, fully independent media entity. To customize 6Do Brief to meet your professional needs, you have the option to subscribe to a diverse array of briefings on our website, 6dobrief.com. Regardless of your location, you can conveniently receive 6Do Brief via email.
Morning sunlight on the street, city whispers soft and sweet, faces mix in daily grind, every story intertwined, cultures blend like colors bright, languages in the silent night, on the table stories told, food and feast upon so bold, people living day by day, in the heart they find their way, sharing moments, voices sing, in this world of everything. Society in rhythms beat, entertainment's fleeting heat, echoes of voice and fears, laughing through our unseen tears, children playing in the park, drawing dreams till after dark, elders speak of days gone by, washing shadows from the sky. People living day by day, in the heart they find their way, sharing moments, voices sing, in this world of everything. Society